So we're sure you've seen videos like these making the round on TikTok. Clips from podcasts always generate big views on TikTok. Seriously, it's a pretty simple idea. Take the most interesting part of a podcast, clip it, add some captions, and post it on TikTok with the appropriate hashtags. Now you can do this manually. But that would mean you'd have to find clips from a podcast, trim the video, edit it yourself, and then post it every day. I don't know about you, but that sounds exhausting already. Luckily for you, we've built an AI workflow that's going to do that for you, and it's going to schedule your new TikTok posts every day. So in this video, we're going to show you how to build an automation in n8n that automatically takes podcast videos and clips them into TikTok-friendly shorts. Stick around to the end of this video if you want to get this workflow for free. So you'll start the workflow by adding the n8n form node as your trigger. We're going to be using this node to collect the URLs of our podcast. Every time you find a podcast video you want to clip, all you'd have to do to kick off this automation is submit the URL link. So the setup is quite easy and straightforward. You'll start by giving your form a title, which we're doing right now. Sorry about that. So the only other thing you'd have to do is add a form element. The element label will be URL, and the element type will be a text input. To finish our setup, we're going to test our trigger. To do that, we're going to hop on over to YouTube and get the URL of a podcast clip and use that in our form. Our form's working fine, and now we've got a URL to use for the rest of our workflow. Let's continue with the rest of our setup. For our next step, you're going to add the HTTP node to your workflow. And we're going to use this to make an API call to our video clipping service. We're going to be using WayinVideo in our workflow. And it's an AI video clipper that's going to identify the best parts of our podcast and generate a short clip out of it, complete with captions and aspect ratio perfect for TikTok. We're going to be using WayinVideo's API service. So we've got their API doc opened in our browser. We'll be using the AI clipping API in our workflow. And while it looks like a lot, it's relatively easy to set up. We're going to walk you through how to do just that in n8n. So we're going to start by setting up our API call method. According to WayinVideo's API docs, we're going to use the submit clipping task endpoint. So we'll copy the URL endpoint and paste it in n8n. According to our docs, this is going to be a post call. Next, we're going to add the headers for our call. If we head back over to our API docs, go to the introduction section, and scroll down, we'll find the headers we'll be using. These include our content type, our authorization, and the API version we're using. We'll start by adding our content type and its value, which is an application/JSON. After that, we're going to add our authorization field, and our value is going to be our API key. So we're going to head over to our API dashboard and retrieve our key. Now we're going to add our call's body. We'll specify our body by making it a JSON. And then we'll head over to our API docs and find an example request in the submit clipping task section. When we find it, we're going to copy it and paste it in n8n. Now we're going to swap out the example video URL with the URL we got from our n8n form. Let's execute this step and get our results. Our execution failed, and that's because we forgot to add the API version when we were setting up our headers. Let's head over to the API docs to get it, and then we'll try again. All right, this time our execution worked, and WayinVideo has successfully clipped our podcast video. Now that we've created a clip, we'll need to get the result of our previous API task and our generated clips. If we head over to the API doc, you'll find that we can do that by using the getClippingResults endpoint. So we'll copy the URL endpoint and paste it in n8n. But first, we're going to duplicate our HTTP node. We're doing this so that we don't have to set up our credentials all over again. So right now, we're going to paste the URL endpoint we copied. And according to the doc, we'll need to add the ID from our previous operation to the end of our endpoint. This endpoint doesn't require a request body, so we're going to toggle this off. Lastly, we'll change the call method from a post call to a get call and execute our step. Our execution worked, but our results turned up empty. And that's because the process of turning our videos into clips in WayinVideo takes a considerable amount of time. If we hopped over to our WayinVideo library, we'll find that our video is still processing. At the moment, running this workflow like this is inefficient. We'll just keep getting an empty response. So we're going to add the wait node in between both of our HTTP nodes. And we're doing this because we want to pause our workflow while this video is processing. So we're going to set up our wait node to pause our workflow for 5 minutes. To do that, we'll set our wait amount to 5 and our wait unit to minutes. We'll resume operations after our time interval. So now when we run our scenario, there's going to be a delay between when we generate our clip and when we get our result. Let's execute our workflow. Lest we forget, we need to copy a URL and use it in our form. Now, we can execute our workflow. Our workflow ran successfully. And if we check the output of our getClippings API node, this time, we're going to see that our output is not empty, and we've got a lot of generated clips. Now we can move on to the next step. Now, because we're getting a list of clips from our API, we're going to add the split out node to our workflow. We're going to drag our clips field from our previous node over to the field to split section. This should be the array with our generated clips. We'll execute this step to make sure it works. Our node works, and we've successfully split out each of our generated clip. Now, when we schedule these clips to go out to our TikTok channel, we'll be scheduling each and every clip individually. So before we can schedule our clips to TikTok, we'll need to download these clips first. Right now, they're just export links. We need them to be MPEG-4 files. So we're going to add a third HTTP node, and we'll use this to download our export links. We're going to use a get method, and our URL is going to be our export link. We seem to have made a mistake in our split out node. We split out the wrong clip section. We should be splitting out the entire clip branch. That's the array we're looking for. Let's execute it again and make sure it's correct. Now we're talking. This time we've got our export links, which is what we'll need to download our clips. So let's head back over to our HTTP node, add the export links to our URL, and execute this step. This execution has been successful, and now we've downloaded our export links into MP4 files for our next step. Right now, we want to schedule our clips to TikTok. To do that, we're going to be using the PostPulse node. But before we can schedule our clips in PostPulse, we'll have to upload our clips to PostPulse first. To do that, we'll add the PostPulse node, but we'll use the upload media feature first. The setup is pretty easy. It's taking the downloaded export links from our HTTP node and uploading it to PostPulse in order to retrieve a path ID we'll use when scheduling our post. We don't have to change anything in our setup right now. All we'll need to do is execute this step. And we'll get our path ID. Now we can add a second PostPulse node. But now we can use to schedule a light post action. For our schedule time and date, we want to schedule each of our clips to be posted every single day, every time we run our workflow. To do that, we're going to copy this Luxon-based expression. This will make our schedule date and time our present time and add an extra day to it. We'll head back over to n8n, switch our field to an expression, and paste this there. Next, we'll pick our TikTok account as our social media channel of choice. For our title and our description, we're going to map out the title and description WayinVideo has already generated for each of our clips. And finally, we'll map our path ID to our attachment field to make sure our uploaded clips are included in our post. So when we execute this step, we'd have successfully scheduled all of our clips to go out to our TikTok page. And if we head over to our PostPulse dashboard, we'll find our clips have been scheduled for TikTok. In fact, we can even preview our scheduled post and view our clips, complete with captions and an aspect ratio suitable for TikTok. So what are you waiting for? Comment TikTok Shorts and you'll get this workflow as a template. That's all for this video. Thanks for watching.